Ladies, stop crying over a man who chose to leave. This is not the end of your story. This is just the beginning of your transformation. You want him to come back? Oh, he will. But not because you begged, not because you broke. He'll come crawling back the moment he sees what you've become. And trust me, he will. But only if you do this. Disappear with dignity. 3 words that sound so simple, but carry the power to shatter egos, rebuild self-worth, and trigger regret like nothing else. You see, in a world where everyone is loud, reactive, and constantly trying to prove something, your silence becomes sacred. It's not weakness, it's the ultimate strength. Disappearing doesn't mean running away, it means elevating above the noise. When someone chooses to walk out of your life, don't stand at the door crying, asking them why. Don't post quotes, don't stalk their socials, and for God's sake, don't text them paragraphs they'll screenshot and laugh at. Instead, walk away with elegance, with grace, and with power. Have you ever seen a queen chase a man? No, a queen doesn't chase, she rises, and when she disappears, the whole kingdom feels the absence. Imagine this. A girl in college got ghosted by her boyfriend of 2 years. Instead of begging or explaining her worth, she went quiet. She blocked him, focused on her studies, lost 10 kgs, got into her dream internship, and started glowing like a goddess. 1 year later, he saw her at a mutual event, and all he could do was stare. Why? Because her silence rewrote her value. Her glow screamed, "You never broke me. You built me." That's the kind of silence I'm talking about, the kind that speaks louder than any revenge plan ever could. Another woman, a single mom, was left by her partner when she needed him the most, but instead of collapsing, she disappeared. No drama, no social media pity posts. She worked 2 jobs, put her kid through school, built a home from scratch, and started her own business. 2 years later, that same man wanted back in, not because he suddenly loved her, but because she became what he never believed she could. She didn't need revenge, she had results. Disappearing with dignity means understanding your value even when others don't. It means saying, "I don't need you to see my worth for it to exist." When you disappear, you're not abandoning anyone. You're returning to yourself. You want to shake someone's soul? Don't shout. Don't post. Don't rant to mutual friends. Just vanish. Focus. Reinvent. Let your silence become a mirror to the one who left. Because nothing haunts someone more than the peace of the person they once thought couldn't live without them. You don't have to announce your comeback. Let the results do the talking, the glow up, the success, the unbothered energy. The day you stop explaining yourself is the day people start wondering what made you so unshakable. You become dangerous when your peace can't be disturbed, when your value no longer needs an audience, when your love is no longer available on discount. Disappear with dignity, not to hurt them, but to heal yourself. Even nature teaches this. Think of the moon. It disappears every month, quietly, and when it returns, it lights up the whole damn sky. That's the kind of energy you need. No announcement, no tears, just growth. Let them feel the absence, let them wonder, let them regret. Because one day, when they scroll through their feed, or walk into a room, or hear your name, they won't remember the girl who begged. They'll remember the woman who walked away and never looked back. Work on your glow up. And I don't just mean putting on highlighter or getting a new haircut. I mean rebuilding yourself so unapologetically that your past doesn't even recognize you. It's about lighting up from the inside out, becoming so magnetic that people can't help but stop and stare, wondering what happened to her, what happened. She stopped waiting for someone to love her and started loving herself like never before. Your glow up is not for him. It's not to prove anything to anyone. It's for you, because you finally realize that being broken is not your identity. That heartbreak was not your home. That rejection, it was just redirection. And the moment you realize that, boom, the glow begins. Take a woman who went through a breakup after 5 years. She gave everything to that man. Time, love, dreams, loyalty. And when he left, it almost destroyed her. But instead of drowning in that pain, she used it like fuel. She signed up for therapy, hit the gym, learned a new language, started dressing like the woman she always imagined. Her skin started glowing, her energy shifted, her presence became powerful. A few months later, that same man slid back into her DMs like nothing happened. But guess what? She wasn't even tempted to reply, because by then she wasn't the same woman. She'd leveled up. She glowed up. The glow up is real. It's not overnight, but it's unstoppable when it starts. And no, it's not just about looks. It's about energy, your aura, your mindset. When your soul heals, your face shines. When your heart forgives, your walk changes. When your focus shifts, your whole vibe becomes dangerous. Not because you're trying to hurt anyone, but because nothing can shake you anymore. Another example, there was a girl who got cheated on during her engagement. Everyone expected her to fall apart, to go into hiding. But what did she do? She got a personal trainer, started modeling, launched her own skincare brand, and used her story as a platform to empower women across the globe. What's that called? That's not revenge. That's rebirth. That's the glow up. And sometimes, the glow-up is quiet. A single mom working 3 jobs who starts taking online courses every night after putting her child to sleep. Slowly she gets promoted, she gets her own car, then a house, her hair's tied up, no makeup, but her glow, it's in her strength. It's in her refusal to give up. That's the kind of glow the world can't dim. Your glow-up is your weapon. When you glow, you become unforgettable. Not because you've changed for someone else, but because you've finally stepped into the woman you were always meant to be. People will start to treat you differently, not because they've changed, but because you did. And your new standard doesn't allow access to what broke you. Working on your glow-up means setting boundaries, not settling. It means feeding your soul, not begging for crumbs. It means getting dressed for you, eating clean for you, showing up as a queen even when no one's watching. Because one day they'll see you, maybe in a cafe, maybe at an event, maybe through a screen, and their jaw will drop. Not just because you look good, but because your energy is undeniable. The confidence in your eyes, the softness in your smile, the fire in your silence. And they'll ask themselves the question that always comes too late. How did I lose her? But you won't even notice them, because your glow will be focused on the future, on your peace, on your purpose, and that is the most powerful glow of all. Date yourself first. Before you give your time, your energy, your body, your dreams to anyone else, give them to you. Because if you don't know how to love yourself, spoil yourself, take yourself out, understand your own moods and madness, then you'll always be looking for someone else to complete what was never missing. This isn't just about bubble baths and flowers. This is about becoming so emotionally self-sufficient that when someone enters your life, they're not filling a void. They're just adding light to a room that already shines. You don't need someone to rescue you. You need someone who respects how far you've come without them. Think of that girl who's always rushing into relationships. Every time she breaks up, she jumps into the next one, hoping the pain fades, but the cycle never ends. Why? Because she never sat with herself, never asked, what do I want when no one's watching? Then one day she stopped chasing love and started chasing herself. She traveled solo, sat in a coffee shop alone without checking her phone, went to therapy, discovered she loves jazz music and hates sushi. She started dating herself, and for the first time, she didn't feel lonely. She felt whole. You become unstoppable when you fall in love with your solitude, when you dress up for yourself and not for the stares, when you take yourself to the movies, laugh at your own jokes, dance around your room in the middle of the night with a glass of wine and your favorite playlist. That's not crazy. That's liberation. Another story, a woman went through a divorce after 12 years. She was devastated. She forgot who she was outside of that marriage. But instead of spiraling, she picked herself up. She made a list of 50 things she always wanted to do but never did. Skydiving, salsa classes, writing poetry, hosting dinners. She did it all alone, and in the process she became her own best friend, her own biggest fan. She learned how to turn loneliness into freedom. Dating yourself means checking in with your emotions. It means asking yourself, am I happy today? It means saying no to things that drain you and yes to things that scare you. It means lighting candles at night even when it's just you. Cooking a meal with love, plating it like you're on MasterChef even if no one sees it but you, because you matter. You are worth the effort. So many people walk around half alive because they're waiting for someone to show them love. But what if you were that person? What if the greatest love story of your life started the moment you looked in the mirror and said, I choose you? You stop attracting people who don't value you when you start valuing yourself. You stop chasing attention when you give yourself attention. You stop needing closure when you realize you were never the problem. You just forgot how to prioritize your soul. There's a woman who takes herself on a date every Sunday. She wears her best outfit, books a table at a fancy place, orders dessert first, reads a book, sips her wine and smiles. People stare. Some pity her. But she doesn't care. Because that woman, she's in love. With her peace. With her And that's the secret. When you date yourself first, you set the standard. You raise the bar so high that no one dares to give you half love, half effort, half truth. They'll either come correct or not at all. Because the one person who will never abandon you, never lie to you, never betray you, is the version of you that shows up even when the whole world disappears. Don't try to prove your worth, because the moment you start explaining your value, you've already given someone the power to question it. You don't need to audition for love, beg for attention, or shrink yourself just to be accepted by someone who couldn't see your brilliance in the first place. You are not a product to be sold, you are a soul to be experienced. There's a woman out there who spent years trying to make a man love her. She dressed how he liked, she silenced her opinions, she bent over backward, constantly proving she was the one. But every time she gave more, he valued her less. Because desperation doesn't create desire, silence doesn't earn respect. And love isn't something you earn, it's something you receive when you're being authentically you. One day she woke up and realized, why am I trying so hard to convince someone to love me when I can't even recognize the woman I've become? That was the shift. She stopped explaining, stopped chasing, and guess what? That's when her energy became rare, magnetic, unshakable. You don't prove your worth by overgiving. You prove it by knowing when to walk away. By saying, if you don't see my value, I'm not going to lower myself to show it to you. I'll just rise so high that you realize what you lost when it's already too late. It's like a luxury item in a store. It doesn't scream for attention. It doesn't go on sale. It simply exists. And those who recognize its value pay full price. That's you. You're not for everyone. And that's your superpower. The more you try to be chosen, the more you forget you were never meant to fit in. You were meant to stand out. Take another example. A girl gets ghosted after pouring her heart out. She wants to send one last message, one last text to prove how good she was. But instead, she pauses. She reminds herself, if they couldn't see my heart the first time, no amount of explaining will make them understand now. So she holds her silence. And that silence? It echoes louder than any words ever could. That's when they come back. Curious, confused, but by then she's already healed, already glowing, already unavailable to what broke her. Stop explaining your intentions to people committed to misunderstanding you. Stop trying to be enough for someone who's not enough for you. Stop overthinking every message, every action, every silence. As if your worth depends on someone else's recognition. It doesn't. You are not a mirror reflecting their approval. You are a sun that shines even when no one's watching. There's a young woman who always felt invisible, in relationships, at work, even at home. Until one day, she stopped trying to be seen and started seeing herself. She stopped dressing for compliments and started dressing for confidence. She stopped waiting for a seat at someone else's table and built her own. And now, they all want to sit with her. But she's not chasing anymore. She's choosing, carefully, powerfully. And that's the shift. From proving your worth to knowing it. From please choose me to I choose myself. When you stop fighting for a place in someone's life, you make space for someone who never makes you question your place in theirs. When you stop trying to convince others you're lovable, you realize you've always been enough. The woman who doesn't try to prove herself, she walks differently, talks differently, lives differently. Because she's no longer trying to deserve love. She's ready to receive it. Not by force, not by fear, but by being so true to herself that only the real ones can find her.
Be unavailable to him fully. Not half-heartedly, not by pretending, not by posting stories to make him miss you while secretly hoping he replies. No, be truly unavailable. Emotionally, mentally, energetically. Remove access, shut the door gently but firmly. Because the most powerful form of self-respect is not blocking someone, it's outgrowing them. Think about this, you were always there for him. Texted back in seconds. Answered calls at midnight. It made time even when you were exhausted. You were his emotional comfort zone while he gave you confusion in return. And now? Now it's time to change the script. You don't need to make him jealous. You need to make yourself unavailable to what drained you. There's a woman who used to break her own heart to keep the illusion of love alive. Every time he pulled away, she ran closer. Every time he got bored, she tried harder. Until one day she stopped. Not with anger. Not with revenge, just with calm clarity. She removed her energy, her attention, her softness. She made herself unavailable. And suddenly he noticed. But it was too late. Because she wasn't playing a game, she was done being a pawn. You see, when you're constantly available to someone who's inconsistent, you teach them that they don't need to value you because you'll always be there. But when you disappear into your peace, your growth, your glow, they feel the emptiness of your absence. That's not manipulation. That's what happens when someone loses access to the woman who used to light up their world. There's a powerful silence that comes from choosing yourself. When you stop over-explaining. When you don't reply with paragraphs. When you no longer need closure, because your peace is the closure. A girl once deleted his number. Not out of spite, but because she realized if she keeps the door even slightly open, he'll keep walking in with muddy shoes. So she locked it. And built a garden on the other side. She didn't need to tell him. Her absence spoke louder than her presence ever could. Being unavailable means you're not checking your phone every hour, you're not pausing your life to analyze his actions. You're busy with your healing, with your passion, with becoming so whole that no man becomes your definition. It means you're not waiting for a text you're booked. You're evolving, you're investing that energy into the woman he couldn't appreciate until she left. You don't heal by staying connected to what broke you. You heal by choosing yourself so fiercely that your ex becomes irrelevant in the story of your comeback. One woman turned off her notifications for him and turned on notifications for her own goals. She stopped showing up in his life and started showing up in the gym, in her business, in her own mind. And suddenly the power shifted. Not because she punished him, but because she prioritized herself. Being unavailable is not about bitterness, it's about boundaries. It's not about pretending you don't care, it's about actually realizing you deserve more. It's the woman who walks away without slamming the door. The one who doesn't need to curse him out. She just stops showing up where she's not respected, and that absence, it haunts him more than any angry message ever could. Because the moment you make yourself fully unavailable to someone who took you for granted is the moment they start to understand the value of your presence. You become the one that got away, not because you were hard to get, but because you finally realized you were too valuable to wait around for someone to see your worth. Let his ego starve. Not with bitterness, but with brilliance, because sometimes silence is the only language a fragile ego understands. The kind of silence that doesn't scream, doesn't post, doesn't beg, it just withdraws. Gently, powerfully, unapologetically. He was used to your attention like oxygen. Every good morning text. Every "are you okay?" when he went silent. Every time you cracked open your heart just so he'd feel loved even when he didn't deserve it. You gave him the spotlight, the comfort, the emotional security. And in return he gave you confusion, inconsistency, and crumbs. But here's the secret: when you stop feeding a man's ego, you start feeding your own soul. There was a girl who kept checking his social media, waiting for signs. She'd post stories hoping he'd watch. She'd keep showing up in his world just enough to be noticed, not enough to be loved. And one day she said, "Why am I keeping him emotionally full while I'm starving for the bare minimum?" That moment changed everything. She went cold not because she hated him, but because she loved herself more. You see, when you stop reacting to his ego games, it drives him mad. Because men like that aren't addicted to you, they are addicted to your attention. They thrive on knowing you're still there, still watching, still waiting. But the moment he opens that message and sees no reply, watches your story and sees no trace of pain, that's when he feels the hunger. His ego starts gasping for the validation it once fed on daily. Another woman, successful, confident, radiant, kept going back to a man who breadcrumbed her. Every time she pulled away, he dropped just enough affection to pull her back in. Like clockwork. But one day she didn't respond. No tears. No paragraphs, just presence in her own life. She got busy becoming the woman she'd neglected while chasing his half-love. That's when he panicked. That's when he came crawling. Because the ego, when starved, wouldn't treat you on your peace. But she wasn't serving it anymore. Starving his ego means you stop answering his low-effort texts. Why? Doesn't get a reply from a queen. The first miss you doesn't melt a heart that remembers how much it cried. You stop rewarding inconsistency with your loyalty. Stop giving energy to what drains you. You stop playing therapist, caretaker, backup plan. You become so emotionally unavailable to his games that he starts to feel invisible in your world the same way he made you feel in his. It's like this. Imagine you were the spotlight, the applause, the crowd. He was just the act. But he got used to your light. And then you switched it off. Now the stage is quiet, empty. He's still performing, but no one's watching. That's what it feels like when you stop feeding his ego. He's still trying to be the main character, but you're no longer in the audience. When his ego is hungry, it will try every trick. The random hey, the accidental call. The I've been thinking about you. But you're wiser now. Because you've learned that love isn't real if it only shows up when it's lonely. True love doesn't compete with pride. And real connection doesn't need to be fed with constant validation. There's a girl who deleted every photo, not